Farmer Jack was a supermarket chain that opened in 1924 and closed in 2007. Thank you for your suggestion.
This morning I saved $8.32 at Farmer Jack with my bonus savings club card. And this afternoon, I'm using the card to get special deals here at Harmony House.
We just saved a bundle.
At Crowley's.
It was easy. We used our Farmer Jack Bonus Savings Club card.
That's right. The same card I use at Farmer Jack's get automatic savings without clipping coupons.
Now use your bonus savings card to save money all over town.
It's always bonus savings time
At Farmer Jack.
Tom and Abraham Borman were brothers who immigrated from Russia in 1914, eventually settling in the Detroit, Michigan area. Tom Borman opened a small grocery store called Tom's Quality Meats in Detroit, Michigan. 3 years later, his brother Abraham, or Al Borman, opened a similar store on the east side of the city, and they subsequently formed a business partnership which lasted until 1945. By 1935, they had 10 markets, and by 1955 they had 26, which operated under the names Food Fair and Lucky. The Mormon brothers decided to merge the stores and incorporate them under the name of Food Fair Markets. In 1955, the brothers once again combined operations, creating a single entity called Borman Food Stores, Inc. Their outlets were consolidated into a 33-store Food Fair grocery chain, all located in the Detroit metropolitan area. In early 1959, the company went public with the sale of 404,000 shares of stock for $6.8 million. The funds were used to buy several small area chains, including State Supermarkets, American Stores, and Lipson Goritz Company, which boosted the Bormans' total holdings to 56 stores by mid-1960. Growth continued over the next several years as more stores were opened in the Detroit area and in the outlying cities like Ann Arbor and Jackson. In 1963, the company began operating a number of groceries inside or near Kmart stores in Michigan, Indiana, and Illinois, which helped boost the total number of outlets to 77. In early 1965, Borman Food Stores paid more than $2 million to buy Arnold's Drugs Incorporated, which operated 13 Arnold and Payless discount drugstores in the Detroit area. The company also named Abraham Borman's 32-year-old son, Paul, to succeed his uncle Tom Borman as president, with the latter moving into the role of chairman. Not long afterward, the firm acquired Yankee Distributors, Inc. in a stock swap worth $5.8 million. Yankee operated a discount department store chain in the Detroit area, which had annual sales of approximately $30 million. By early 1966, the Bormans Company had 81 supermarkets, 16 drugstores, 18 Yankee discount stores, and a dairy plant called the Detroit Pure Milk Company. In 1967, the firm rebranded its Food Fair stores as Farmer Jack Supermarkets with a logo that featured a cartoon farmer character. The Bormans also secured new financing during the year to fund expansion and opened 2 large shopping centers which combined Farmer Jack, Yankee, and Arnold drugstores under one roof. Meanwhile, Tom Borman sold his stake in the firm to his brother Abraham. Sales at Yankee stores had been declining for several years, and after first announcing that they would be closed, Bormans found buyers in Hartfield Zodi's Inc. and Mangle Stores Corporation. The grocery industry was now facing hard times as well, and the decision by segment leader A&P to to offer deep discounts on food prices via the new Where Economic Originates campaign had an immediate impact on the company, with Paul Borman telling shareholders in the summer of 1972 that A&P's strategy had pretty much destroyed the supermarket industry. By 1973, the Farmer Jack chain had shrunk from more than 90 outlets to 88, and it recorded a loss of $603,000 for the year. In 1975, the firm was unexpectedly forced to take on an additional financial burden when the owners of its former Yankee stores both filed for bankruptcy, leaving it liable for payments on property they had subleased. The late 1970s saw renewed expansion, and in 1979, revenues hit $789 million, and the firm earned a profit of $5.8 million. In 1981, Borman sold 10 unprofitable Arnold's Drug Stores to Revco Discount Drug Centers, Inc. The company continued to open additional Farmer Jack stores, and by 1984, revenues had grown to $996 million. A&P, now with 55 stores in the area, was aggressively seeking to unseat Farmer Jack from its position as market leader with a massive ad campaign touting warehouse prices. The company slashed its own prices in order to keep up, resulting in a loss of $10.9 million during the year. The following year, Borman's acquired the 5 Detroit area Chatham stores and converted them to Farmer Jack's, while also shutting down 5 of its smaller outlets. Competition remained intense, with area supermarket chains now giving customers double the face value of manufacturers' coupons, which wreaked further havoc on the firm's bottom line. By year's end, the Farmer Jack's chain had shrunk to 83 stores. In early 1987, the company paid $75 million to buy 61 Safeway stores in 5 western states, after which it converted them to Farmer Jack's and sold an affiliated dairy operation to Borden. Less than a year later, in 1988, Borman's sold his newly acquired Safeway stores, citing the difficulty of running them from a long distance and their unexpectedly high operating costs. Stung by all of these developments, in December of 1988, Borman's sold the Farmer Jack chain to Montvale, New Jersey-based A&P for $76 million and the assumption of $105 million in debt. Afterwards, the stores would continue to bear the Farmer Jack name. Though A&P had initially planned to convert its 40 remaining area stores into Farmer Jack's, sales dropped at the first ones completed, and the process was quickly halted. The firm's distribution operations had also been combined to cut costs, but the two corporate cultures were dissimilar and problems with product flow soon appeared. The early 1990s saw Farmer Jack beginning to accept credit and debit cards, and in 1992, the company became the first Michigan grocer to offer an automated self-checkout lane. In 1996, the 100th Farmer Jack store opened in Chesterfield Township, Michigan. The firm's newest outlets were larger, ranging from 45,000 to 73,000 square feet. Advertisements now bore the tagline, "It's savings time at Farmer Jack," emphasizing the chain's low prices. In 2002, A&P was struggling with losses in all of its divisions. Accounting problems were discovered in the Detroit area, which required it to restate earnings for the 3 previous fiscal years. Farmer Jack was doing especially poorly as competition intensified and unemployment in the auto industry-dominated area began to climb, which helped push parent A&P's losses to $193 million for the year. There were now 110 Farmer Jacks among A&P's shrinking national total of just over 700 stores. In early 2003, more executives departed and the company announced it was closing 4 stores and buying out 400 workers. A recent attempt to shift away from the chain's long-time emphasis on low prices had failed miserably, and in June, the company closed its stores for 37 hours to prepare them for a new focus on daily low prices and fresher meats and produce. The firm's customers also would no longer need their Farmer Jack Bonus Savings Club card to get lower advertised prices. In early 2004, 10 Farmer Jack locations were converted into A&P's Food Basics format in an attempt to compete with the discount chains such as Save-A-Lot. Less than a year later, 9 were closed. In early 2005, A&P placed Farmer Jack for sale, seeking an estimated $250 million for 71 core stores. The remaining locations were offered individually. A deal was struck, but ultimately fell through. In March of 2007, A&P announced plans to sell or close Farmer Jack by July. In May, its distribution warehouses closed. The remaining Farmer Jacks closed on July 7th. Of the remaining 66 Farmer Jacks, the company announced that it sold 20 of them to Kroger, 10 to smaller local chains, and 15 to independent grocers.
What happened?
Farmer Jack was doing such a low volume. The existing stores were barely even doing that. Farmer Jack was stuck in the past in terms of quality, merchandising, and pricing. While Kroger's was aggressively remodeling or rebuilding its stores with designer interiors, full-service meat and seafood counters, sushi, and extensive prepared food bars, most Farmer Jacks retained A&P's late 1980s, 1990s interior design package, according to a marketing consultant who was very familiar with the stores. So what are some of your favorite memories of this place? Leave a comment or a suggestion for a future video below. Be sure to hit that like button. Thanks for watching.